All right, so number 9 says the temperature in Australia is 95 degrees and decreasing at a rate of 4 degrees per day. The temperature in the US is 40 degrees and is increasing at a rate of 5 degrees per day. For how many days will Australia be warmer or the same as the US? So we're going to go ahead and start with Australia's equation. So they tell us that it's 95 degrees. So that is the constant and it is decreasing. So if it's decreasing, that means that it's going down or less than or subtracting. So less at a rate of 4 degrees per day. So 4 degrees per day. We don't know how many days, so we're going to put X. Now we're going to go ahead and look at the questions so that we are able to figure out what sign are we going to use. So for how many days will Australia be warmer or the same as the US? That means when is Australia going to be more warm or the same? So that is greater than or equal to. Okay? So it'll be like this. Now let's go ahead and do the US temperature. So it is 40 degrees. That's a constant. And it is increasing. So plus at a rate of 5 degrees per day. So 5x because we don't know how many days are going by, right? So now that we have our equation set up, we can go ahead and start solving. We're going to go ahead and move this 5x to the other side. That reduces to 0. And I do the same thing over here. So then I'm left with 95. Negative 4x minus 5x, that reduces to negative 9x. And I bring down my sign along with the 40. Now that I have all of my variables on the left side, I need to move my numbers to the right side. So I'm going to start with this 95. This is a positive 95, so I'm going to do the opposite, which is a negative 95. This reduces to 0, and I'm left with negative 9x. The sign stays the same. 40 minus 95, well, that is just negative 55. And then I need to move my negative 9. So that is negative 9 times x. How do I undo multiplication? Well, I divide. So I'm going to divide by negative 9 on both sides. This reduces to 1. So I'm left with x. What happens to the sign since I divided by a negative? Well, it flips. So there we go. Negative 55 divided by negative 9, that just reduces to positive 55 over 9. And this is my final answer. All right, so for number 10, it says Paul's Plumbing charges a $40 house call fee and $4 per hour. Perfect Plumbing charges no fee and $5 per hour. At how many hours will Paul's Plumbing be the same price or cheaper than Perfect Plumbing? So let's go ahead and start setting up our equations. All right, so I have that Paul's Plumbing charges $40 for a house call fee. Okay, so that is a constant. They charge you just for calling. And $4 per hour. So in addition to that, $4 per hour, but we don't know how many hours, so we're going to put X. Now, let's go to the question to figure out what our sign is going to be. So plumbing, so how many hours will Paul's Plumbing be same price or cheaper than Perfect Plumbing? So same price or cheaper than. So that means equal to or less than or equal to, okay? So less than or equal to. Then it says Perfect Plumbing charges no fees. So they have no fees. That's our constant. And they charge $5 per hour, but we don't know how many hours. So again, we have X. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this. So we have 40 plus 4X less than or equal to 5X because 0 plus 5X, well, that's just 5X. Now I'm going to go ahead and start moving my variables and numbers around. So I'm going to go ahead and move this 4x to the other side. And then I'm left with 40 less than or equal to 5 minus 4x, or 5x minus 4x, well, that's just 1x. And then I want to get that x by itself. Technically, this would already be done. But if you want to go ahead and take that extra step and just divide by 1, that literally gives you the exact same thing, okay? 1 divided by 1, that reduces to 1. And then 40 divided by 1, well, that's just 40. So it's the same thing. But the point is that this is your answer, okay? So we're done with that one. All right, number 11 says Beyonce has $40 and earns $4 for each dog she walks. Ariana Grande has no money but earns $5 for each dog that she walks. How many dogs would need to be walked for Beyonce to have less money than Ariana? All right, so let's go ahead and start setting up our equation. So we know that Beyonce already has $40. That's her constant. And in addition to that, she earns $4 for each dog that she walks. But we don't know how many dogs she's walking, so that is X. Now we're going to go ahead and go over to our question so that we know what sign we're going to be using, okay? So how many dogs would need to be walked for Beyonce to have less money than Ariana? So that is less than, right? Less than. So Ariana Grande has no money. She has 0. But she earns $5 for each dog that she walks. So in addition to that, she makes 5x because we don't know how many dogs she's walking. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite that as 40 plus 4x less than 5x because 0 plus 5x, well, that's just 5x. And then I can start solving. So then I'm going to move the x over. I'm trying to get all of my variables to one side first, and then I'm going to get all of my numbers to the other side. So then that leaves me with 40 less than 5x minus, this is a 1, okay? Whenever you see a variable that doesn't have anything in front of it, there's always an invisible 1. So what is 5 minus 1? Well, that is just 4. And don't forget about your x. So then we have to move the 4 over. Well, that's 4 times x, so how do we undo that? We divide by 4. So then 40 divided by 4, well, that's just 10. And since we didn't divide by a negative or multiply by a negative, the sign stays the same. We have our x. This is our answer. All right, this one says Drake has $40 and is spending money at a rate of $4 per day. Luke Bryan doesn't have any money, but is working for $5 per day. At how many days will Drake have no more money than Luke? So let's go ahead and start with Drake. So it says that he has $40. That's the constant. And he is spending money at a rate of $4 per day. So if he is spending, that is taking away, that is subtracting. For X, because we don't know how many days, right? It says per day. Luke Bryan doesn't have any money, but is working for $5. So he has no money, but he is working for $5 per day. So he's getting money. There's addition happening, okay? That's why we get that plus. And we have the X because we don't know how many days he's working. Now let's figure out what sign are we using. Well, it says in the question that how many days will Drake have no more money than Luke? That means that he can have less than or equal to, okay? He can have less money than Luke or equal to. All right. So now we can go ahead and start solving. So I'm going to go ahead and move, oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and move the 5x, or before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it. So 40 minus 4x less than or equal to 5x, because 0 plus 5x, well, that's just 5x. And then I'm going to add 4x on both sides because I'm trying to get all of my variables on one side. So then I'm left with 40 less than or equal to 9x, because 5x plus 4x, well, that's just 9x. Now, I have all of my variables on one side, but I'm trying to get my numbers on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and divide by 9 because 9 times x is the operation being used here. So I'm trying to undo that operation. So I undo it by dividing. So then this reduces to 1. And since I didn't divide by a negative, my sign stays the same. Okay, and I can't reduce anything else. So the 40/9 stays like that as well. So this is my final answer. And that is it, guys. If you guys have any questions, please be sure to let your teachers know, okay? Have a good day.